What's up, guys? Welcome to reading day number 2. We are picking up right where we left off from yesterday at the chapter called Boss. All right, I'm going to try to get through about 15 to 20 pages every day. So we'll see how that goes. All right, and when there's pictures, I will show you. Don't worry, I'm not going to hide the pictures from you. All right. My mom wasn't much for names. She had a lot of litters. I guess she'd run out of ideas. My brother, first, was Natch, the firstborn. Runt, my youngest brother, was the last. Dot had a little spot on her back, and Yip was always complaining. I was Rowdy. Goes without saying, and that left my oldest sister. We called her Boss. Boss was small but mean, with a distinctive, sharp-sounding bark. She could outmaneuver any of us to get to the best spot for dining. I admired her grit, even if she did get on my nerves. When we got a bit older, less blind, more cocky, I fought her off occasionally, but mostly Boss won. She was fearless, that pup. The truck happened without warning one night. They threw us in a box, left my mom behind. I can still hear her frantic howls. I landed in a muddy ditch. It was a cold, cloudy night. Nearly freezing. Even the moon had abandoned me. And the smells, everything so wild and unknown. Animals with big jaws and bigger appetites. Birds that swooped in to kill. Death and life all mixed up together. I searched for my siblings until the truth became clear. I was utterly alone. The next morning I began my slow journey moving through the tall, wet grass, my limbs stiff from the cold. Now and then I'd drink from a mud puddle or gnaw on some grass. By evening, I was wobbly with hunger and thirst. I followed the highway. Every time a four-wheeled creature roared by, I froze in fear. And yet, and this is what slays me, I knew that cars meant humans, and humans meant the possibility of living, just as much as they meant the possibility of dying. Darkness had fallen when it came out of nowhere. The owl. A shadow in a shadow. They don't make a sound, you know. Not a sound. It's quite impressive when you think about it. There's the owl. Just as her talons, those marvelous weapons, raked my fur, I caught my right front foot in a small hole and stumbled. If she'd gotten hold of my body, I wouldn't be here. But all she managed to do was grab my tail. Only time of my life I've regretted my handsome hindquarters. I was airborne, hanging upside down, dizzy and dazed, and just crazy enough to think, hey, I'm actually flying. Before the terror hit full force, I caught a whiff of other animals below. Later I found out they were pocket gophers. But back then, I just knew I was smelling something completely foreign. The owl must have decided the gophers would make a more satisfying meal. She let loose her grip, and I plummeted to earth. Maybe it was my puppy fat, or my soft bones, or my incredibly good fortune. But I didn't die. Didn't even break anything. I'd flown twice in my short life, and lived to tell the tale. Found a small hollow at the base of a fallen tree, poked my nose in, and got a swat and hiss from a grouchy raccoon. Kept going, waddling, whimpering. Lights ahead. New strange smells. Kept going. It's amazing how much the sheer will not to die can keep you moving. I finally came to a small road, curving off the main highway. Exit 8 turned out to be. Big billboard overhead had a picture of a terrifying animal on it. Of course, I didn't know what a billboard was, didn't know that the scary animal was a gorilla, let alone that he would become my dearest friend. But something told me to follow the off-ramp, and essentially I ended up at the Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade, home of the one and only Ivan. I made it to the mall, slept in dirty hay by some garbage bins the next night I found that hole in Ivan's cage, stole his banana, slept on his belly, and the rest, as they say, is history. For 2 years I lived at that seedy old place. That was part mall, part circus, and all crummy. But that was nothing compared to Ivan. He spent 27 lousy years there. And our dear friend Stella, an old circus elephant, was stuck there for most of her life too. When Stella passed away, it nearly broke Ivan's heart. I tried like crazy to get him through those dark days. But what really saved him, I think, was Ruby, our baby elephant friend. Before Stella died, Ivan promised her he'd get Ruby out of that awful place, and to my amazement, he actually pulled it off. Ivan and Ruby had a bunch of other pals ended up going to different places, zoos and sanctuaries, that knew how to take care of them. They're with others of their own kind, and they're loved and well cared for. It's been over a year now since we all moved, and they seem so much happier. Me, I lucked out. My girl Julia, whose dad had worked at the mall, decided her family needed a dog. Who was I to argue? 2 square meals, my own bed, all the belly rubs I could beg for? What dog in his right mind would say no to that? The best part is, we didn't live far from Ivan and Ruby. I get to see them all the time. I'm glad they're nearby, and I'm thrilled they've settled in so well. Really, it's a solid situation, but it's not a perfect one. The way I understand things, it's like this. We live on a lonely ball called Earth, and humans have basically been throwing it against the wall for so long that the poor old ball is falling apart. It's like me with this tennis ball, chewing away until it's nothing but pieces of slimy, rubbery, and taste like, well, slimy rubber. And that means there aren't as many places left for wild animals. Seems there are good zoos and good sanctuaries and bad sanctuaries, just like there are good dog families and bad dog families. The good places are trying to keep wild species healthy and safe. They don't want endangered animals to go away forever. They also don't want the earth to turn into a slimy, dilapidated tennis ball. Although honestly, slimy rubber doesn't taste half bad. You should try it sometime. The thing is, I would have given anything to see my dear pal Ivan deep in the jungles of Africa, where he was born, or to see Ruby running across the savannah with a herd of elephants, her big old ears flapping in the wind. I'd give a mile-high pile of bacon cheeseburgers to see that happen. I really would. But it ain't happening. I get that, and so do they. When you're an animal, it helps to be realistic. All right, we're starting on section number 2. This morning, I wake up in my cozy bed, way too early for Julia to make me breakfast. She and her mom and dad are still asleep, and even the guinea pigs are silent. My belly grumbles, and once again I curse my fumbleness. Humans are one big design flaw. The inferior noses, the inscrutable humdrum rumps, and don't get me started on their odor. But the opposable thumb idea? Yeah, that was a nice upgrade. The cans, I could open. The doorknobs, I could conquer. Anyways, I feel worried. Oof. Worry's a waste of time, and it doesn't fit with my tough guy act. Sometimes I can't seem to help myself. Before I wake up, I've been dreaming about Ivan and Ruby and Stella. Wasn't a nice dream, a fun and run-toed twitcher. Nope. This one was a nightmare, a bad one. We were swimming, all 4 of us, in a black, raging river. For some reason, I was in the lead, and I kept looking back, telling them I was going to save them. Me? Save them? 2 elephants and a gorilla? As I paddled like mad, their voices faded. I looked behind me, and they'd vanish. And then I heard it, a faint bark. That bark, I woke up. Then, like I always do, I did an all-over shake, trying to toss off the stench of nightmare that clung to me like shampoo after a bath. I told myself to chill, get a grip, stop worrying about nothing. And yet, some primitive part of my brain, the wolf in me maybe, is on edge. A lot can go wrong in a moment left to chance. The blink of an eye, the bounce of a bone. And there are so many ways the world can find to fail you. By the way, there he is, swimming. All right, and that's where we are going to stop today. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you tomorrow.